I would say do not hesitate, just do it. And, many times I remember even when I started thinking, what if nobody reads my book? What if I don't get an audience? And I remember telling myself, you know what? If the only kids that get influenced are those around me, so be it, and it will have been worth it.
That was special author guest Wambui Mathenge sharing her advice to authors. Stay tuned to hear more about Wambui's journey as an author here on Pages and Voices. I'm your host, Meg Bell. We'll be back after the intro. Welcome to the Local Author Podcast, sponsored by the Allen County Public Library. This podcast is dedicated to featuring the works of talented authors within our community and highlighting their unique voices and perspectives. Today's author guest is Wambui Mathenge. Wambui is the creative mind behind the beloved children's book series featuring the lively character Amani. From a young age, Wambui found joy in simple activities that let her imagination roam free. Whether she was doing chores or lost in daydreams, her mind was always weaving new stories. Today, Wambui is a master of edutainment, skillfully blending education and entertainment to create stories that are both fun and enriching. Born and raised in Kenya, she draws deep inspiration from the vibrant culture and traditions of her homeland, infusing her tales with the colors, rhythms, and spirits of her surroundings. Now living in Fort Wayne with her loving husband and two energetic boys, Wambui is hard at work expanding Amani's world. With each new book, she invites young readers on exciting adventures full of joy, learning, and unforgettable moments. Welcome to the podcast, Wambui. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Megan. This is, I'm excited to be a part of your podcast.
Yes.
Looking forward to this.
Great. I love it. So before you share your reading and we discuss your writing processes, I want to tell readers about the two books I read. There are more books in this series, but I read two to prepare for this interview, which are the 2019 release Amani on a Space Adventure and the 2021 release Amani at the Safari Rally. In both books, we follow young Amani as he embarks on exciting exploits. In Amani on a Space Adventure, he travels into space and explores our solar system, telling readers about the planets. In Amani at the Safari Rally, he takes readers to the Safari Rally in Kenya, which is a real event held in the spring. He walks readers through what to expect at the rally. Okay, I'm going to let you share your reading now.
I'll actually read from one of the ones that you already read, Amani at the Safari Rally.
I loved that book. That was really great.
Yeah.
I learned some things.
Yes.
I did.
You did? What did you learn?
I didn't know that this was a real event
that
happened.
Really?
Yeah. So I went and did a Google search. And, and looked up real pictures. And it was really interesting.
Yes, because my youngest son is into cars.
Oh,
and, he'd quote for me Lewis Hamilton and F1 series and all that. And, of course, one day I asked him, have you ever heard of the Safari Rally? And I'm like, how do you not know this exists?
Yeah.
It was a big deal growing up. I mean,
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah. We had charts writing them down. Oh, and it went all through. Typically, it was always during the Easter.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and read a page or two from the book, really quite at the beginning. And here, Amani is approaching where the cars are getting ready to go on the rally. So on this sunny afternoon, everyone at the Moi Kasarani Sports Center is pumped and umped for the Safari Rally to begin. Amani is not missing this most adventurous and toughest rally in the world. He walks around looking at all the cars before joining his sister Zuri. Amani! Amani! Over here! Zuri calls. What are you doing with the clipboard, Zuri? Amani asks. I'm helping Auntie Naomi with her checklist before the race, Zuri replies. Hi, Auntie Naomi. Are you ready to drive like the wind? Amani asks. That's right, Amani. My navigator, Sam, and I were born ready. Auntie Naomi laughingly replies. Sam has been Auntie Naomi's navigator for a long time. Auntie Naomi's job is to concentrate on the driving, and Sam alerts her on what the road is like, using the intercoms in their helmets. All right, you're going to have to stop me. Otherwise, I'll just continue. All right.
Keep going. I think it's great.
The super special stage is my favorite part of the rally, when the cars go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just a few seconds. Come on, let's go time Auntie Naomi and Sam, Amani exclaims. Here she comes, shouts Zuri as the number 76 zooms around the bend. Oh, wow, what did she clock? Did she do better than last year? Zuri asks. She sure did, sis. I have her at 3.37 seconds. Woohoo! Amani jumps up excitedly. After the president of Kenya flags the cars off, the race is on. Amani and Zuri go to the Ruka Spot viewpoint. This is my favorite part of the rally. I love to see the cars jump really high in the air, says Zuri. Amani laughs and says, yeah, until they flip like Auntie Naomi did last year when she lost time. Yeah, but that was so cool, says Zuri. The Naivasha Service Park is bustling with activity. There are tools and crew members everywhere. They are changing tires, checking the oil, fueling, fixing under the hood, and of course, cleaning the car. Amani joins the team to help. Outside, Auntie Naomi, Sam, and Zuri are huddled together, going over Sam's pace notes and planning for the next day. The next rally stage is the Sleeping Warrior. It is very tough. The road is narrow with volcanic rocks that makes it rough. Sam advises Auntie Naomi on how to navigate this stage. On and on the conversation goes, and Zuri starts dozing. Come on, champ, off to bed. You too, Sam. Let's get some rest, Auntie Naomi says. Another bright sunny day, folks. The rally cars are ready, rumbling, and off they go, the enthusiastic announcer shouts. Come on, Zuri. We need to go to the Majimoto finish line at the Hell's Gate National Park, Amani says. I got a feeling that this year Auntie Naomi is winning, Zuri sings along the way. Suddenly, Amani and Zuri are on their feet, cheering, shouting, and dancing. She did it! She did it! Auntie Naomi won! Amani shouts. Number 76 forever! Zuri adds. They join Auntie Naomi and Sam at the podium, giving hugs and kisses. The best part is getting on the hood of the car for the best photo ever. The end.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I love the way that you read that to us. And honestly, I'm sitting here looking at my own copy of the book, and I wanted to hold it up and show the pictures around as you were doing it. I love it. So, Wambui, do you remember how old you were when you got the writing bug?
I would say I was in high school. I really wish I could even find the book. Do you remember there were some books called Sweet Valley High?
Oh my gosh, you kidding? Yes. I read them all. I was upset. Every time we went to the bookstore, I had to buy a new one.
So that was the inspiration. I wish I could find the little book that I used then to write my own Sweet Valley High.
Oh,
but
yeah,
then it got lost. I have no idea where it is. But I would say high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when did you think, I would like to try my hand at being a children's author?
Actually, it was inspired by my children. And I remember, obviously, reading to them and all that. And every time you get a book, if you see the Eiffel Tower, you know that book setting is in Paris, right? If you see a rodeo, you'll know you're in Texas, or, a cowboy girl or cowgirl or cowboy. So I realized that my children have nothing that they look at, and for them to know they're in Kenya, or in South Africa, or they're in the northern part of, they know nothing. And so that's why I said, I remember I asked a guy that was writing books at the time, hey, you really need to write books for kids. And the guy asked me, his name is Kombani, he asked me, why don't you write it? And I thought,
well, you're right. Why don't I?
Can I?
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And I actually started with the Big Five. And it's because in Africa as a whole, even Kenya, when we advertise, or when you see Kenya advertised or Africa advertised, it's always about the animals.
Okay.
You know, come see the lions in their real habitat and stuff like that. And I was like, well, why don't I start there?
So is that, you said earlier before we were talking, before we started taping, that Kenya is that where the pride is? Like you were talking about you mentioned Lion King. So is that Kenya?
Yes. Actually, in the book that I just read, where the safari rally is ending at Hell's Gate, if you watch The Lion King, you know, when the bad brother, I don't remember. Scar, yes, where Scar is being chased. It's actually based out of the Hell's Gate.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yes,
okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So once you decided that you were going to write the series of books about Amani, how did you begin?
So like I said with the big five. And then I started looking at different things that are unique, you know, that many people wouldn't know. For example, when you said that you didn't even know Safari Rally was a thing, you know. So I started thinking, okay, if I were to tell somebody to go and visit anywhere in Africa, what other things would I tell them, you know, to look out for? And so that's where it started, you know, and the ideas are many. I've written them all down and then just build on each one. But so that was the reasons.
So you keep mentioning the big five. So there's 5 books in the Amani book series. Is that okay? So we've talked about 2, the Safari Rally and then Amani on a Space Adventure. But what are the other books about?
So, like I said, there's the big five, which is the animals that are the big five. And, you know, you'd think it's the
big
largest.
Five refers to the animals.
It refers to the animals.
Understood.
And you'd think that it's the largest animals that you'll find in Africa. But no, I was very surprised as to why this particular ones are the big five. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't...
Very interesting. It's actually that they're the hardest to hunt on ground.
Oh.
It has, because you know, I looked at the leopard and I'm like, why is the leopard part of this? He's tiny.
He's fast.
Yeah, but it's because he's hard to hunt on ground. So then the next one I did was then Amani and the African dinosaurs. I had no idea that Africa ever had dinosaurs, but Jurassic Park apparently did, you know. So in my research, I found that this has been a known thing. Again, and as you can see, a lot of the books so far have been very, and not to put stereotypes, but very boyish, you know.
Yeah,
but
sure.
not to say that girls don't. Yeah, not that girls don't. But yeah, so I did the dinosaurs, and then the one that I did latest was climate change.
Okay.
And for me, for the climate change, as much as I know sometimes it can be a political hot button issue, I focus more on how do we take care of our environment? How do we take care, you know? And it's simple things like when you leave a room, please put off the lights.
Yes.
When you're brushing your teeth, please don't have the tap running because it's wasteful.
Yes.
So it's more to do, for me, the climate change was more from a child's perspective.
Some basic things that you can do to help out.
Yeah, how can I make my world a better place? And it's just small things like those that children can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal favorite out of these books?
No,
I know they're all your children.
I know, and that's illegal to ask me that.
That's right.
I love them all the same.
I can't wait to get my hands on that, the Big Five.
Yes.
That sounds very interesting. I mean, they all sound good, but I'm really interested because you're right. I didn't know that. What is the animal on there?
I know. So
there's is that a wildebeest? Oh, it's a buffalo. I'm sorry. Pardon me. A lion, an elephant, a rhino, and the cheetah, you said, right? So, all right. You guys, everybody's going to have to check these out. Come to the library and check these out.
Yes.
So, why these specific topics? I know you've mentioned that, like the Safari Rally, you wanted your kids to know about, but like the dinosaurs and the Big Five and the climate change, why those specific topics?
Honestly, I always also use them as a platform because I love the art in it, so the illustrations. So I was using it also as a way to also tell the story of what Africa is like through pictures. Okay. So like I said, when you see the Eiffel Tower, you know you're in France, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the things? Because, I mean, I have met people who, you know, have no idea that, you know, there are real buildings in Africa and stuff. And so it's an opportunity also just to tell the story through what our terrain looks like. So picking topics that will show you what the terrain in Africa looks like, you know.
Yes.
That way when you all come to visit, you know,
Yes.
you won't be surprised. Like, I know that place.
Yeah, that's right. I love that.
Yeah.
So is there anything among these that like you really enjoy? You sounds like you had some fun memories from the
Yes.
safari rally.
Yes, I do.
But like, do you like dinosaurs? Do you like animals?
So
It's all about educating.
it's all about educating, honestly. And for me, the dinosaurs, you know, it's nothing that I would say that I loved them as a kid or anything like
Right.
that. Again, I'm a mother of boys, and you can imagine there's been a lot of dinosaurs in my house.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I was like, well, let's check this out.
Uh-huh.
Would I want to go and meet a dinosaur if I could? I
No.
probably wouldn't.
No, yeah, I know. We talk about that sometimes. We're like, man, that dinosaur would step on our house.
I know. Why would I want to do that? Like with the Spinosaurus. But then what surprised me is that, you know, maybe we just don't pay attention sometimes. But when I was doing the research for it, the information that's out there
I
is
know.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how didn't I know this existed?
I know.
Yeah.
I
so-
understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I feel it. And like, you know, they talk about how they sometimes will find fossils here in
Yes.
America, and I hear those stories, but I don't think about that in other parts of the world.
And finding fossils in Kenya, we are the heaven of finding fossils. You
Oh,
know,
that's really good to
in
know.
our
That's
history. You know, so you know, Jane Goodard coming to, you know, the people who mentored her and all that. It's all about fossils.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this was a very good educational journey for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they self-published?
Yes, they are self-published.
Okay.
When I initially wrote the first story, The Big Five, I remember I was working at IU overnight shift, and I printed it at Kinko's. When Kinko's was a place, I don't think it exists anymore. So I remember I went and talked to some publishers to find out, and of course, you know, I was told how hard it is, and, you know, I mean, everything about it was just, this is impossible. So that's when I started thinking, I wonder
Nothing's
what
impossible.
it takes. Yeah. What do they actually do even? And I was like, oh, it's just marketing and publishing and finding an illustrator. It sounds easy now, but no, you know, there was a lot of work to find the people to do the different things. But I'll say marketing would be the most unnatural part for me.
Unnatural part?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that thing of, oh man, putting yourself out.
Yeah.
And, you know, feedback, good or bad, and you brace yourself for whichever will come.
I know.
And, you know, being proud of it and saying, yeah, it's the best thing ever. It's not very... I'm not in a background where I have had to put myself out like that.
Yeah, I understand.
And some people may hate it, may hate the books. Now what? You know what I mean? 'Cause
Right. Like
it's
we said, they're
possible.
all your children. So,
Yeah.
you don't, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I know. It's hard. I would find it very difficult as well.
Yes.
But speaking of the illustrators, so Ben,
Yes.
can you pronounce the last name for me?
Yes, Momanyi.
How did you get connected with Ben?
I believe it was my husband. Both illustrators has been my husband who knows somebody in the artistic world, and so they introduced me to them.
Okay.
I mean, talented young men, so talented.
These are wonderful pictures.
Totally talented.
Colorful.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, and easy to work with, you know, very easy to work with. So that part, so now the problem for me, my nature, is that for me, if you're my illustrator, you then become my family. So if you're trying to move on to something, I'm like, but you can't.
You're now my family.
Exactly. So the illustrators it was an introduction. My husband, I believe, knew somebody who was in the artistic world because he does marketing better than I do, and introduced me to them.
So who's the other? You have another illustrator?
Dennis, yes.
Okay.
Dennis Mashiri is the other one.
Okay.
So Ben, I believe, has illustrated 3, and Dennis has done 2, and he's actually working on the 3rd one right now.
So are these local people?
No.
Or?
So they're not local. They are actually in Kenya.
Okay.
So
you got somebody local from Kenya,
Yes.
which that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I thought, they're there.
Really?
Yeah, there will be more
personal
authentic
experience, authentic. Yes.
They'll be more authentic to be able to push back and tell me, no, our cars don't look like that, or whatever.
Did you find that part difficult since there's that 8-hour time difference? Did you have to line your schedules up just right?
No. Artistic people
Pretty
are
easy?
night owls.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they're awake at some very odd hours, which is good for me.
Yeah, that works out, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So were the books professionally edited?
Yes, so that I got a friend who is in the editing world, and honestly got people who, first I had to get an English teacher.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted an English teacher, just to first look at it, was to make sure that the flow of the book would be how they are teaching children to speak or
Good idea.
to read or whatever. And then got professional editor because, the art of editing is cutting. Because I can go on and on in the same sentence. I mean, and then who knew where that comma goes is that important?
I can be wordy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm very wordy.
Loquacious.
Yes, exactly.
In speech and writing.
Yeah, and then learning that when you're writing to children, you have to do shorter sentences.
Keep their attention.
And then there was the pushback of stop using such huge vocabulary words. I'm like, no.
I've had another children's author say that they're using too big of words.
Yeah, and so then what I do, I pushed back and like, you know what? If I just do even just one hard word, hard in quotes, in the book, that's good. Let them get introduced to those words now. Let them, because kids are curious and they want to use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to, because they want to look smart too.
Fire that brain up when it's young and
so I
creating all
pushed
those
back
pathways.
on that one. Yeah.
Well, good for you.
I've pushed back on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were there any resources you found valuable while you were writing the books?
The library, going to to do the research, the back research, because remember, my audience may be children, but children are very smart. And I remember one time I went to a reading on the space book. And when I came to Jupiter, one of the children in the audience said, yeah, and there's a red storm, something in Jupiter. And I remember thinking, oh, thank God I had read up on that so I know what he's talking about.
You can have a conversation.
I can actually have a conversation. And more than anything, he who is my customer and my audience will think, yeah, she knows things.
Yeah, she knows her stuff.
Yeah.
That's right. I can talk to this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to write each book?
How long did it take? I feel like I write it in my mind first, and then I actually write it down on paper. So I wouldn't say there's a standard amount of time. Actually, if I just sat down and concentrated on just I could do it in a week. If I just sat down and did nothing else, So the part that takes a while is the research. But the actual story, I have a backbone of what it needs to look like. So now with my story, I need to go and back up my facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself distracted sometimes while you're trying to write the story?
By life.
Yeah.
Yeah. By life and, the day job.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Is there any part of the process, the writing process, you don't care for?
Editing.
Yeah.
I don't want them to tell me to cut stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to lose any part of the story.
It's part of the story. What do you mean I need to cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even to reimagine, or if I insist on having that part, to reimagine the same thing said in a different way.
Okay.
So the sentence is, let's say 20 words long, and they're telling me it's too long. So thinking, okay, how can I make it into 2 sentences? Since I don't want to lose it.
How can I say the same thing,
yes,
but shorter,
exactly.
briefer?
Yeah.
What advice would you give an author working on their first book?
Do it. I would say do not hesitate, just do it. And, many times I remember even when I started thinking, what if nobody reads my book? What if I don't get an audience? And I remember telling myself, you know what? If the only kids that get influenced are those around me, so be it, and it will have been worth it. Yeah. So I would say, don't think so much about what if it's not liked? What if, it gives you joy to write this. Yeah. You feel this is a story that needs to be told. Tell it. Somebody, most of the time in life, it's going to resonate with somebody, and somebody is thinking just like you. Yeah. Somebody is wondering the same thing you're wondering. It's just that you had the guts to put it down on paper. I'll just do it. Yes.
I love that. When you are writing, how many hours a day do you commit to it?
When I'm writing, I will do even 6 hours a day. But if I'm doing research takes longer. I can easily go 10, and it's easy to go down the rabbit hole. So sometimes I have to pull myself back.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very, especially with the dinosaur book, because it wasn't something that I knew. So it was very easy to go on, but when it's something that I know I've experienced, like the safari rally, in my head, I already know what the real thing looks like, so that's easier.
Right.
But when it's something I've never bothered with, then that takes a lot longer.
And, okay, you mentioned you have 2 young sons at home, right? How old are they?
15, well, now they're older, 15 and 12.
Okay, so they're a little more self-sufficient, so it's not like you have to
No.
be right there all the time for the kiddos.
Yeah, now they even have become my editors, so I give them to read. And does this sound like a kid would want to read this?
I love that you pull them into it as well.
Yeah, and the beauty is that they're very honest.
Yeah, your kids will tell you, won't they?
Yeah, they'll tell me. That doesn't make sense, Mom.
Well, see, I think you just answered my next question, because I was going to ask you who you trust for constructive and objective criticism of your work.
Yes.
And it sounds like maybe your children.
My children, because even I'll give it to my husband, but then he will give me feedback. But sometimes I feel like he doesn't want to be raw about how bad it is, or you know,
sure, he's trying to be gentle and kind.
Yes, because I'm still the wife, Yeah. But my kids, I'm just mom. So what are you gonna do?
That's right. She won't get too mad.
Exactly. Even if she gets mad, she'll get over it.
She'll get over it. She loves us. It's fine.
Right after that, they ask for dinner.
That's right.
After telling me it stinks.
And you still got to feed them. So.
I still have to feed them.
That's right. Yeah. So has writing and publishing these books changed the way you see yourself at all? Yeah.
The biggest thing, or the oomph that it has given me, and it's probably a false sense of bravado here, was, if I put my mind to whatever it is that I want to do, I can do it.
I love that. Yeah. I love that attitude. I think that's wonderful.
Concert pianist, the next Mozart? Yeah,
sure,
I can
why
do
not?
that. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen? It will fail, so what?
I think we should all have that attitude, honestly.
I think if we all did, man, there would be a lot of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I was looking online. Did I see that you do things with the book in Kenya, like maybe online you do it, or
yes.
Have you gone there physically and done stuff with the book?
Yes, I have gone there and gone to the schools. Like we'd go to school, maybe I'm invited by their librarian or whatever. The thing that has been most interesting to me, when I always call the children my audience, they're my real customers, is just the whole thing of, you wrote this? As in you did it. This is your name? And the other thing, doing it in Kenya, is having my name or having a name on it that is familiar to them.
Yeah.
That it's something that, I mean, I can't tell you how many kids will come up to me. My cousin's name is Amani. Because the word Amani means peace in
like
Swahili. My cousin's name is Amani. My younger sister, because it's a dual name, my sister's name is Amani, you know. So, and then for them to say, Wambui, that's my second name, you know. So for them to see things about where they're from, and to be able to look at something and say, oh, I've been there. I went to the safari rally last year, or, you know, whatever it is. So that is, you don't realize just how powerful it is until you see them looking at it.
Do you have these books also written in Swahili?
No, you know, I really need to do that.
Okay.
That's passion project that I need to get on.
Sure.
So the answer is no.
Okay.
But in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's coming soon one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there any books that inspired you to become a writer? I think we touched on that a little bit. You said Sweet Valley High. But were there any other books that...
Hardy Boys.
Oh, you like the Hardy Boys too?
I like the Hardy Boys. I didn't like Nancy Drew.
You know, I remember the TV shows.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I think they were maybe in reruns.
Oh, okay.
But I never read the books. We watched the TV shows.
Yeah, I liked Hardy Boys. I'm just thinking when I was younger. And, you know, my dad was really good at making sure he got me all the books that I wanted. And I still do read a lot. And, I mean, I always say every time I go to a new city, the first thing I go and check is where's the library.
Yeah.
So books like that. Obviously, my reading has changed over time. I went through a autobiography, and biography books season. I love political thriller. You know.
Yeah.
I love that.
How old were you when you came from Kenya to the United States?
I was 18?
So you were a little older.
Yeah, I was a little older. Yeah, yes.
Was that a hard transition?
No.
Easy?
Love America. Yeah.
Sure.
I was like, finally. And I see my children doing the same thing. Like, I wouldn't move from here.
No. Yeah, we talked earlier that you go back and visit about once a year to Kenya.
Yes, yes, we do.
I would love to go to Kenya someday. I think it'd be
honestly
fantastic.
Please take me up on that. I will take you gladly. You will love it.
See, now I could get my husband to go. He says he prefers to do international travel when you go with somebody who knows the ropes.
Yes.
Tell
him free room and board.
I will tell him.
Yeah,
I will
free
tell
room
him.
and board. Just buy the ticket.
Okay. All right. I'll let him know that. So what books are you currently reading?
So right now I am reading Robin Cook's medical thriller, the latest one. I think it's called Bellevue.
You do like thrillers.
I do. Who done it? I just finished reading, I'm in the process of historical fiction. I love historical fiction. It's one called Frozen River that I'm reading right now.
By Ariel Lahan?
Yes.
That's getting a lot of good press.
Yes.
So many people love that book. What do you think?
You have to be patient. I think it's easy for you to give up in the first few chapters. Just be patient. It will pick up.
Okay.
You know, and then sometimes I go through seasons where I just want a book and they lived happily ever after.
Yes.
A nothing book, you know?
Yes.
They just lived happily ever after.
Sure.
So
I did that this winter with my winter blues from December 1st until like February 9th.
Yes.
I read all 5 of the A Court of Thorn and Roses books. And that's a lot of pages to read. I could not put them down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love a good book that has many pages.
Yeah, well, maybe you should read A Court of Thorn and Roses because the second, third, and fifth book are all 600 to like 750 pages.
Ooh, that's yummy.
Yeah, and just really good story writing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Got me through the dark days.
Oh,
So if the Amani books were turned into audio books, who would you want to read them?
Wow, I love your questions. Never even thought of it. Huh.
Now that I've heard you read it, I think you should do it.
I know.
You do a good job.
Huh. I don't know.
Nobody coming, yeah.
No, nobody comes to mind. Well, you know what? I'll think about that, but never. it better be somebody who has drama
Yeah.
in their reading.
I want somebody that's from Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
from
would be
the
good
area,
too.
The
Yes.
accent.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Huh.
It's beautiful. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if you could spend the day with another popular author, who would you choose?
Christine Hanna.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah.
She's good, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I just like how her historical fiction mind works.
She's a beautiful writer as well. Her
Yeah.
prose are
Yes.
pretty incredible.
Yeah, I would love
What's your favorite book by her?
Nightingale.
Okay, I haven't read that one. I've read 3 of her books, but not that one.
So, okay, so why I like her historical fiction or why I even choose that is because I feel like what that book taught me is that don't make assumptions about somebody when you see them, you know? And as I've grown older, I always say at the beginning, my mom would tell me to do things like, psh, what does she know? You know? And then now, anytime my mom tells me to do anything, even if I don't agree with it, I just put it in my drawer that says, one day I will understand what she means.
That's a good perspective to
I know.
have.
But for sure, that was a book that made me feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the way she brings up the story.
She really is a talented author. So do you celebrate when you finish one of your books?
Oh my goodness, yes. Because I feel like you just brought another child into the world because I've lived in it for so long. And so the celebration is more, talking about it with anybody who will listen to me. You know, and then now, of course, once you finish, it's a new circuit of, all right, people need to know you wrote it.
Yeah, that's right. How do you market the books? Do you go online, Facebook?
Yes, I'll go online, especially Facebook, because, you know, marketing children's books is very interesting because, yes, my audience is children, but they're not the ones that are actually buying.
Right.
So I have to please the children, but at the same time, I need to convince the parent or the guardian that this is something that they should invest in, you know? So there are two people. So for the children, I honestly, I will cold call libraries and say, hey, do you have library day? I can come read for you a book to your kids, you know, stuff like that. But or read it online and then post it on Facebook Market and all that.
That's smart.
It's only, I always say these books are the reason I ever got onto social media.
Okay.
Was to advertise this. Otherwise, I had never been.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next for Amani?
The one we're working on, I'm so excited about it.
Okay, what can we know?
What you can know is that, you know, at the tip of South Africa, the tip of the continent of Africa, right at the bottom.
Okay.
And some people refute this. Some people say it's true. The Atlantic Ocean and Indian Ocean meet.
Okay.
The two oceans come together. And so Amani is going to go and see what's so exciting, what's so magical about that happening and who lives in our waters. Because everybody knows about our lions and all that. But who knows? Maybe there's interesting life from Atlantic and the Indian Ocean.
You don't hear much about the coast of Africa.
Yes.
I mean, the Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
The Canary Islands, maybe. But yeah.
But that there's
a
life.
whole bunch more.
Oh, yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
And when do you think that one will be out?
We just started the process of the actual drawing, so we probably have a few more months
Okay.
of it, yeah.
And how can listeners find your books and reach you?
Well, besides the public library.
Yeah, that's right. We have copies.
Yes, you can find us on Amazon.
Okay.
So Amazon has our books. And we have a website, amaniseries.com. And honestly, if you reach out through social media, we'll reach right back.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Wambui, thank you for joining us on Pages of Voices today.
Thank you so much. This has been fun. I can't believe the time has gone that fast.
I know. I agree. I agree. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you to those who listened in. Stay tuned for more authors on Pages and Voices. I'm your host, Meg Bell. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on Pages and Voices, a source for local authors and their stories. From the studios of Access Fort Wayne at the Allen County Public Library in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, I'm your host, Meg Bell. A special thank you to Kay Gregg for her work engineering and editing this episode. We've explored fascinating stories and insightful discussions today, but our journey doesn't end here. Find more episodes of Pages and Voices wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with the area's authors and their insights into the written word. Until next time, keep turning the pages, and we look forward to welcoming you back soon.